We executed in tough situations, the third downs, fourth downs, red zone, and we could still be better.
The Broncos are back on the road again, this time in Jacksonville, looking to improve to 2-0. We're getting you ready for kickoff. I'm Phil Milani alongside Sidney Jones and Eric Dalala. Guys, Teddy Bridgewater's debut got off to a terrific start. Can he do it again, Sidney?
Absolutely, Phil. I mean, highest quarterback rating 2 weeks in a row, sign me up. I'm all in. I do think Teddy can repeat his performance from week one, and if he does, we're going to be in a good spot because this Jaguars defense, they give up 449 total yards last week and 37 points against the Texans. And one thing that I really like that I saw from Teddy this past weekend, and something I hope to see him do, week in and week out throughout the rest of the season, was just his ability to extend plays on his feet. We saw him escape pressure, time and time again on Sunday, and get the ball to open receivers and make those plays. And one thing I do want to see Teddy in this offense really focus on this week, and I mentioned it last week on the show as well, is just to get off to an early start. They didn't really do that against the Giants this past week. I think the first 3 drives, they only scored 3 points before Tim Patrick's, obviously his touchdown on the final drive of the first half. So I think if we can get the ball rolling early this weekend, we should be in good shape.
Yeah, fell behind 7-3 against the Giants. See if they can get off to a little bit of a faster start this week. What do you think, Eric, going up against the Jags defense that really let Tyrod Taylor do a lot last week?
Yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be an issue for Teddy Bridgewater if he plays even close to how he did last week. Third down defense was near the bottom of the league, and obviously we know how well the Broncos did on third down and fourth down last week, so that's a definite advantage for the Broncos. 1 sack for that Jaguars defense last week, no takeaways. Red zone defense is just kind of average. Passing defense, I think 21st or something like that, and the rushing defense, which could help set up play action for the Broncos, that's near the bottom of the league as well. So I think this could be, people asked this week, is this Teddy's best game of his career? I don't think so, but I think this week he has a possibility to score a lot of touchdowns. I'd say, Phil, we were talking about it the other day, maybe 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. I think the Broncos could hit the ground running on the road in Jacksonville, and Teddy could really impress some people.
Maybe this next game will be the best game of his career. Here's what Teddy had to say about getting off to a fast start.
Coach Sherman mentioned that it took us to like the 34th play of the game last week to take the lead. We want to be greedy with starting fast and have that mindset that, man, let's start fast so that, throughout the course of the game, our defense could just have that energy, take the field with that confidence. And like Coach Sherman said, when you're playing ahead, it's easier to call games. So that's our mindset going into this game.
On the other side of the ball, Ronald Darby heading to IR. That means that first-round pick Pat Surtain II is up in the starting lineup. Is he ready for it?
I mean, there's only one way to find out, right, Phil? I do think he is ready to start on Sunday. He talked to the media this week and sounded really confident, sounded like he was ready for this opportunity. And, he said he was going to approach this week like any other, taking it day by day and, really just going out there and working hard at practice. And, against the Giants, he did only play 16 snaps. Had kind of a big mistake, giving up that touchdown to Sterling Shepard. But I think if there's any week for him to, get thrown in the fire, this is the week to do it. Going up against a rookie quarterback who he knows, who he's seen play, gone up against in college. A quarterback that also threw 3 interceptions last week. I think I'm really excited to see what Pat can do. And obviously, he's not going to be alone out there. He's surrounded by veterans who really are going to have his back and are able to help him, obviously, with Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, and Kyle Fuller. But I'm excited to see him have the opportunity to show that he's reliable.
When the Broncos drafted him, a lot of people are saying, wait, how's he going to get on the field? You already got a lot of these cornerbacks in free agency. It seems like George Paton knew what he was doing, though.
Well, George Paton talks about getting a lot of calls about these cornerbacks in training camp, decided not to trade anybody away, and it's a good thing because, like you mentioned, Phil, Ronald Darby goes down. We didn't even think that something had gone wrong with Ronald Darby. He played all 61 snaps and then ends up on IR on Tuesday, but I think with Pat Surtain, a smart thing that Vic Fangio is going to do is just leave him at that right cornerback position. We've talked so much about his versatility, how he can play all over the field, but I think in your first start to just say, you're going to play outside, that's where you're going to be, don't worry about going in the slot, don't worry about going down and playing dime linebacker, that's going to help him, I think. The Jaguars have kind of a sneaky good wide receiving core, Phil, with Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones, and DJ Shark is probably the guy that Pat Surtain's going to end up covering on that side, but I think he's ready for it. He played well in the preseason. His film study is going to have him prepared. And Sidney mentioned the big play. if he's able to just shove the guy out of bounds, it's just a 15-yard completion. No one's really talking about it. Probably not a big deal, but because he wasn't able to make the tackle, that's when it becomes Surtain gives up this huge play. We know he's a good tackler from what we saw at Alabama, so I'm not worried about that element of his game.
And Surtain addressed that big play to the media earlier this week.
I could have squeezed it better. I should have known that route was coming based off his stem. So, I could have squeezed it and sort of like initiated it earlier and made it, just had tighter coverage on it.
And for our final segment, talking about Trevor Lawrence, the #1 overall pick. This guy has been the #1 everything ever since he was pretty much born. And now he's going to be going up against this Broncos defense. Should this defense be concerned, Sydney?
To be honest, Phil, I don't think they should be majorly concerned with Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is extremely talented. There was a reason he was the #1 overall pick, and we all saw how talented he was at Clemson. But, every rookie does make mistakes as they adjust to the NFL, and Trevor Lawrence is no different. We certainly saw that last week. He made some really great plays, but also not some great ones. Ended up throwing for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns, but also those 3 interceptions, like I mentioned. I do think this is going to be a big week for our defense. I think we've been talking about it all season. They really want to emphasize, getting takeaways, and I think this is the week to do it. And I think if they just continue to keep the pressure up and, give Lawrence a couple different looks here and there to keep him a little bit confused, I think we should be good to go.
Yeah, Vic Fangio said that maybe a lot of people think pressuring rookie quarterbacks is the way to go, but sometimes that could even make it easier for them. What do you think, Eric? What's the game plan going against Trevor Lawrence?
Well, and Vic Fangio knows what he's talking about. He's 18-9 as a defensive coordinator or head coach against rookie quarterbacks, so he knows what he's doing. I think you don't want to put too much pressure on him. Let Von Miller do his thing. If Bradley Chubb's back, let him do his thing. But I don't know how many blitzes you need to bring, because I would try to confuse him on the back end. I think you're still going to be able to get pressure. You're going to be able to get home, I think. But on the back end, when I watched the game, I saw 2 different types of mistakes from Trevor Lawrence. One was when he tried to extend plays too much. The mechanics weren't perfect, and he overthrew a pass that was picked off. And then one, he just was kind of fooled by the defense. Vernon Hargreaves for the Texans dropped right back into the throwing lane. One of the easier interceptions you'll see a defender make. So I think if you get that pressure, maybe you'll force him to make one of those overthrows or not a perfect pass. And then on the back end of that defense, if Vic Fangio can do his thing, I think you'll be able to fool him a little bit too. He's going to be a really good quarterback in this league. He's going to make plays on Sunday. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes out and throws for another 2 or 3 touchdowns. But I think you're also going to be able to get to him and make him make some mistakes.
Defense is a little bit more complicated in the NFL, and those throwing windows a little bit tighter.
Trevor's a great quarterback. It was, been watching him, for a while. He's been all over, ESPN and, all over, all of these news and mock drafts and all these things. He's a hell of a player. He has a great arm, amazing hair. Everybody loves him, and he's gonna have a very successful career in the National Football League.
All right, it's going to be a 2-day trip for the team, heading out on Friday, spend an extra day, Saturday down there in Florida. Time for predictions. Sydney, what do you think?
I think the Broncos are going to win. Final score, I think I'm going to go 27-14.
I think the Broncos score a little bit more than that. I'll go 35-14. I think this could be one of the best games of Teddy Bridgewater's career. I don't think the hype for him is going to slow down after this week.
Okay, I'm going to say 32-10. I think Broncos get the victory. 32 points. How do you get there? It's kind of complicated. I think they'll do it. All right. Well, I hope now you are ready for kickoff. That's going to do it for us. For Eric Dalala and Sydney Jones, I'm Phil Milani.